Whether you're looking for a Chevy car, truck, or SUV, go see my friends at Apple Chevy in Tinley Park. With over 500 new and used vehicles in stock, they have what you're looking for, and at the lowest price possible. Go to applechevy.com.
Kick your pants out the ground. Pants on the ground, pants on the ground. Looking like a fool with your pants on the ground. Go in your mouth, head turn sideways, pants hit the ground. Call yourself a cool cat, pants on the ground.
Well, the city of Gary, Indiana, or at least the mayor of Gary, Indiana, they want to take some action against pants on the ground, and the ACLU is not happy about it. They've got their eye on Gary and the Common Council, waiting to see if they produce an ordinance regarding the wearing of pants sagging below one's waistline that warrants a legal challenge. Now, I gotta say that kids, primarily kids, I don't know, sometimes it could be people in their 30s. Could be.
Could be.
I mean, it's
probably the high end of the low-riding pants, I'd say, though.
Yeah.
The saggy pants.
That's probably true. And then it starts again in the 50s when your gut pushes your pants back down past your hips, and there's not much you can do about it.
Totally different problem.
Yeah, it must be a different problem.
And mostly a male problem, too, when you say a male issue with the wearing of the pants, the saggy style.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's a guy thing.
It's a different situation. But here's the thing. I guess the bottom line here is that they're considering an ordinance. The ACLU is like, whoa, you can't do that. And I'm sorry. I think that these saggy pants are really, it's a stupid thing. Does not help you in any way, shape, or form. It does not, it's not impressive. It makes everybody think that you're a goof. It makes everybody think that you're, potentially, so stupid you might do something dumb around them or to them.
Yeah.
It also makes you, appear completely and wholly unemployable.
Well, I mean, people are going to judge you for it. Let's just be honest,
yes,
right? I mean, you can't
exactly.
show up with your full underwear showing and not expect people to be like, oh, okay, that's fine. It's not okay.
But you can't legislate fashion because it's part of freedom of speech. Unless it's somehow dangerously... That's what I'm looking for here. Unless your fashion presents some form of a biohazard or some sort of other hazard, I don't think there's any way to legislate it.
Well, there might be a little bit of a hygiene issue, right? If you got your butt sticking out, I don't know.
Well, there's indecency. That's a separate issue. But if you got your underwear sticking out, what difference does that make? You're showing your drawers. Sometimes the drawers are very, very, very fashionable.
And sometimes very brightly colored, I've noticed. You know, you're kind of trying to show them off in certain circumstances.
Exactly. So I'm not quite sure what to do with that. All right, here is the mayor of Gary, Indiana, and thank you very much for being with us because this is this is a confusing issue for all of us. This is Karen Friedman Wilson, who is the Gary mayor. So, Your Honor, first of all, do you think you can pass ACLU muster here if you do pass, if your council passes this law?
Well, let me tell you what the origin is. We have a youth council, and they have been vetting issues since their inception about 6 months ago. And this was one of the issues that they raised, and certainly one of our sitting council members feels very strongly about it. And I certainly understand their feelings about the issue. I think that dependent on the level or the extent of the sagging, you would have an ACLU issue. I mean, quite frankly, just to show a little underwear is not indecent exposure. It doesn't rise to a criminal evict, and to the extent that you're making, I wouldn't even call it a fashion statement, but to the extent you're making a statement with your underwear in your pants, then, you should be able to make that statement whatever it is. I don't have a lot of self-esteem. I'm so stupid that I fill in the blank. But, this is a teachable moment, I think. Both a teachable moment for those who choose to sag and a teachable moment for our young people who are very hardworking, who are very thoughtful, and who have really stepped up to the plate as members of our youth council, because you can't legislate behavior. You certainly can regulate it when it comes past a certain line, when it gets past a certain line, but you can't legislate just common sense.
Right, you can't. And the thing is that, like, all right, so underwear, but if you're wearing, like boxer shorts, I mean, there's people who wear boxer shorts in public.
You mean with no pants over them at all? Not even sagging?
I've seen women doing that as a fashion statement at parties of
I've seen it on college campuses.
Yeah.
Those are called pajamas.
Right, but there is no law against wearing your pajamas in public, right? It's stupid. I think to the mayor's point, it's stupid and it's unproductive, but that's not a legal thing. So if you're wearing, like, okay, so the other day I'm leaving work at my other place. I'm walking down the street and there's a guy in front of me, I'm assuming a kid, I don't know, could have been in his teens, could have been in his 20s, I'm not sure. And he's young and he's got the saggy pants on. He's got a gigantic belt on too. And
it makes it sag even more.
Exactly. But he's wearing boxer shorts. Mayor, pardon me for wasting your time with this, but his pants are about sort of mid-thigh as he's walking down the street.
Yeah, so full view.
Yeah, I mean, a full botoxial kind of thing. I never got in front of the kid, and who wanted to see what else was going on there. But all right, so the pants are completely sagging, and then I stop and I think, well, if something weird were to happen here, God forbid we should all have to evacuate quickly, he would trip over his own pants. And
you might trip over them too.
That's true. That could have been a safety issue for all of us. What I don't really understand though is how is it possible to get physically, how do they stay up? That's the thing I don't know.
Well, sometimes there's a belt. Sometimes it's just by luck of the draw.
I guess maybe. You might be right about that. Luck of the draw. Luck of the gait, I think, actually is, like as the kid is walking, you got that's like incredible thigh control to keep the pants up.
Might work out the thighs a little bit. You never see those guys running too much. They're always kind of walking.
No.
You got to keep the pants up.
Not a lot of running going on.
No.
You're right about that.
No, exactly.
But what do you think, Mayor? Do you think there is there have been so many efforts across the United States to crack down on the saggy pants
Pardon the
thing.
expression.
Sorry, I went there. But, what do you think? Is it because there is an affiliation assumed with gangs, or is it, there's something about, what is it?
Well, the origin of sagging pants actually came from prison. And that's because you can't get a belt in prison because of the risk of suicide. And so there aren't any belts in prison, and very often the prison garb would sag. So some people have carried that behavior outside of prison to the general population or to just everyday society. And the reality is that a lot of the kids who are sagging certainly don't aspire to go to prison, but they don't know any better. And so that's why I said it's really an opportunity to engage with our young people, to teach them, this is where this came from. We know that when you grow up, you don't want to go to prison so that you'll have to sag, you won't have any choice. And so this is what it looks like to an adult who may be making a hiring decision, who may even be making a grading decision or some other decision that has the ability to impact your life.
Yeah.
And, we never know what the thought process is, but you don't want to add to that or detract from it by showing up at a location with your pants hanging down.
Now, you see, Mayor, I would stop if we were having this conversation, because you started to see this pretty prevalent about 20 years ago, right? So, 20 years ago, if you're having this and people are all upset about it, now we're going to get them young boys, get their brains back up and all that, you would think, those are people who just don't understand fashion or they're not in the moment. 20 years later, this thing has come and gone, and it's just the dead-ender idiots who are doing it.
But it's surprising how long it's survived, to your point.
And there is an argument. I've heard people come to the defense of this, using the same backstory that the mayor was just telling us about. Well, it's prison, or it's about we're making some sort of political statement about the underclass and all that. And you're like, no, you're not. First of all, explain. Just give me another sentence about that, and then maybe I will believe you.
They're saying it's a rejection of society, like the societal norms. I'm not part of mainstream, so I can have my pants hanging down.
Well, then wear a skirt. Why don't you just put a skirt on? All right, so, Mayor, what do you do? Have you ever been out on the streets to talk to these kids? You ever go and counsel people?
Oh, all the time. Sometimes I do it in a very mayoral way. Sometimes I just yell out the window, pull your pants up.
Right.
So,
good for you.
You know, and I think that obviously the mayoral engagement is the
I think the second. I think the latter probably works better. I'll be honest with you.
Very simple.
I love
right.
the idea of that.
So right.
I love the idea of that. All right. Well, and Mary, you got a lot of things going on. I mean, it's this is not the Gary is Gary. There's a lot of positive that can happen in Gary. And you got a lot of work to do to, keep that moving in the right direction here, because obviously Gary is, working its way toward.
We've had some challenges. Challenges, and certainly we don't want to stigmatize or further stigmatize African American young men. But I think this is one way for us to really engage with them and talk to them about what we want to see for them, the positive things that we'd like to see in their lives, positive things like further education, employment, opportunities, and if you're going around with your pants sagging, that really does hamper that before you even open your mouth.
Yeah, that is an excellent point, Mayor. Well, good luck to you with all of this. I'd like to go right along with the mayor. Just rolling down.
Put
your damn pants up. Pull them up. Yeah, you.
I bet you get a response.
See, you talk to law enforcement, and they're going to go, they're kids. There might be some gang affiliation, depending on if they're wearing, there's other colors and other accoutrements that can go along with that. But let's face it, cops are going to beat. 9 out of 10 times are going to beat those kids in a foot race, right? They're going to catch them in a foot race 9 out of 10 times.
Any day of the week. And you know what? They leave somewhere, most times someone's home with their pants down, and so the first admonition needs to come as you're going out of the door. You can't leave out of the door of my house with your pants hanging down.
There you go. Although, I don't know, you think they're pulling them up and then getting out on the street and pulling them back down and then pulling them back up?
That's quite possible.
Yeah.
That's quite possible.
Although, but the length is interesting, too, because sometimes it appears that some of these are designed to, for the cuffs to hit exactly,
with the sagging.
The proper break in the shoe.
Sure.
With the, and
I know what you're talking about. They don't appear extra long.
No.
Even with 7 inches of sag.
Yeah. So there's a little something going on there, too. I don't know. All right. Well, Mayor, good luck to you on this. We appreciate
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
There she
Take
goes.
Care.
Thank you,
Gary
Mayor.
Karen Freeman Wilson.
She's doing a lot of good stuff over there, I will say.
That's a tough gig.
That is.
First African American mayor, by the way, in the state of Indiana.
Oh, is that true?
That is true. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, very. Very educated woman.
And the first African American mayor in Gary.
Gee, well, good luck to her. I hope
all of that.
Does very well with everything there.
All right. Judy Pilak is standing by, not the first African American of Gary. Judy is not.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.